Welcome back to the grind for the day 5 trading post review. This is the final day of this week's trading post, and there are a couple interesting things to discuss. But first, some videos of my puppy. She is now 7.5 months old. This is from her recent trip back home to Canada with my wife, and it was her first time seeing snow. Look how excited she looks prancing around. And then she didn't realize how slippery it was, so you can see she wipes out a little bit there. And then when she got inside to warm up, she decided she wanted to try to catch her tail, and she was successful. She got it, but she kept on trying to pull and ended up kind of neutralized there. So I hope you enjoyed those clips. Now let's get into the review. First, you have a Mythic Hunter attack glyph, which gives Hunter attack and Hunter HP. Now, this is a fairly decent glyph, especially for those who don't have a lot of seasonal Hunter Dragon glyphs, because it does give a fairly good chunk of attack, and the secondary is HP, which is a nice added benefit for a lot of dragons, especially because when you're using the seasonal glyphs, they just have Hunter attack plus a specific secondary to the dragon it came from, which will not benefit any other dragon. Usually, there are rare cases where they have the same spells that will benefit, for example, Hunter's Mark. But in this case, you get, I believe it's 6% attack and 3% HP when it is maxed. So if you don't have a lot of mythic glyphs for your hunters, specifically the seasonal glyphs, then this is a very good one to grab. And the difference is about 2% attack. The seasonal hunter glyphs will have an 8% attack bonus plus a secondary that usually won't benefit a dragon that it did not come from. So if you don't have many seasonal glyphs, or you're okay with sacrificing 2% attack for 3% HP, this is a great glyph for you to grab. It is 1,500 sigils, which is a little bit more expensive, but really not all that expensive overall in terms of glyphs, because glyphs are really hard to come by. They don't really drop very well from silver chests, and depending on when you open them, you might continually get garbage. And so a lot of players don't really have many good glyphs to use. Over years and years of playing, you will eventually accumulate enough decent glyphs that you can have a dragon of each element runed to your liking, but until then, you're probably going to be hurting for the runes that you like. So this one might be worth your investment, depending on what runes you have at your disposal and what your situation is like at the end of the season, if you have enough sigils or if you have the rubies to spend on super sigil chests in order to get this glyph. So it'll be a case-by-case basis. I am going to opt out of getting it because I've got lots of seasonal glyphs that I can use, and I don't necessarily feel strongly enough to get that added HP. Next are these speed ups, 48-hour speed ups, 5 of them for 250. This is not a bad deal. If you are strictly looking for speed ups and you really only need them for your next fortification event, and you have enough other resources you're not hurting for, this is a good deal. And you can purchase 20 of them. So that's 5,000 sigils, and you'll end up getting 100 of the 48-hour speed ups. So what, 200 days of speed ups. This is not a bad deal, but it's not a must-have deal either. If you were to be one of the players who have the Hueso branch completed, and you could spend the sigils on the draconic chests, you'll get a good amount of timers from those, and all in all, the value will end up being better out of the draconic chests, but you will probably not get as many speed ups. So that's something you have to consider. If you really just need the speed ups, then you might want to go for this offer. But if you don't need only speed ups, or you have enough speed ups for the next event and you want to get the most out of your sigils, then putting them into the end of the Hueso branch to buy draconic chests is better value. But at the same time, if you have not completed the Hueso branch, then you might just want to grab these because it may be one of the better values, because you obviously can't just purchase the draconic chests unless you've completed the branch. So the next one we have is Embers. Now, this is about a bit of a, whatever you prefer. Elemental Embers are very needed in the game, and Black Pearls at early levels, they're really hard to get initially, and you need a lot to level up your perch. But at the end of the game, or at ender stage in game, when you're over level 250, maybe 300, you start to have a large excess of Black Pearls. Like, I have over 306,000 Black Pearls, and I don't routinely level up my perch at this point, but I do constantly level up flax, and they take elemental embers and lots of it. Now, the amount of embers that you'll get from doing this full exchange is 5,000, which is like maybe one level, and you're giving up 10,000 black pearls. So it is a pretty significant exchange, and you're really only getting, what, 1 or 2 levels out of your flak towers. But because I have way excess black pearls that I don't foresee myself using in the near future, I'm going to go ahead and make this exchange. Even though I'm not hurting for elemental embers either, I do foresee myself hurting for embers sooner than I do seeing that happening with black pearls. The next one is this XP bundle. That is a lot of XP potions, or a large amount of XP from the potions, but that may be dependent on your level. And there have been lots of XP boost deals in the past, which I have stocked up on, and this one is not by any means the best, but it's okay. If you need them and you're running out and you do like the added benefit of them, it really does make leveling dragons up easier, so you can get the most out of them much quicker and with less effort. So I do think it's worthwhile getting XP potions and boosts, mostly the boosts, but for this price, it's not a must-have deal, and since I have a large stash still, I'm going to opt out of that one as well. And the final one, Mythic Fragments. You get 20 of them for 500 sigils. Now, if you saw Morion's review or analysis on forums, he said this is not as good of a deal as the prior one, but it is still a decent deal for those at end game. So he was saying if you are currently breeding end game dragons and you do not have enough resources to make your breed in the next event, then this is probably a good purchase. But if you're not yet at endgame, obviously the Mystic Fragments are not as valuable if you're using them on dragons that are sub-endgame tier. And the value of them is only okay when you are using them at endgame tier because they are worth more egg tokens when you do the conversion. But he was saying if you don't need them in the next event, or if you're not at endgame, you probably don't need to make this purchase because it's not a must-have, it's not an exceptional offer, but it is decent, especially if making this purchase is going to get you your breed goal next event. So take it for what it's worth. Let me know what your thoughts are on this event, which ones you grabbed. Nothing was too exciting for me personally, but at an earlier stage in the game, I probably would have gone for this Hunter Attack Glyph because it's not a bad buy. And I really only got this because it wasn't going to make a difference either way, so I felt more inclined to click that button and make that exchange. So I'm going to save my sigils and put them into more draconic chests. So I hope you enjoyed. I hope this was helpful. Let me know what you decided, and I'll see you in the next video.